trying to see if I'm actually live. So, hey, all right, thank you for letting me know. That's helpful. Let me get my phone up so I can get some questions. All right. Okay. Give me like a thumbs up or something if you guys can hear me well and all of that. Okay? I'm checking the comments, making sure. All right. Good evening, everybody. Happy Wednesday. I hope you guys are enjoying this week of the oil study. We've had so much information in here, and I hope you are learning a lot and just loving your oils, having a good time, experimenting a little bit, and getting some good education in. Okay, so let me introduce myself. My name is Becca Schugert, and I am a certified nutritional consultant and a certified essential oil specialist. I'm also a mom of 4 kids and a homeschool mom. So, lots of different hats and everything. And stress is kind of like a part of my life, just like it's a part of everybody's life. So one of the things that we're going to talk about tonight, we're going to geek out just for a minute on some science. So if this is not your bag, just hang in there with me because I'm going to give you some practical tips too. And I want you to understand that one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about sharing with other people the ways that doTERRA essential oils and supplements have helped me is because it has helped me. They have helped me so much, like just changed my life in so many different ways. And so I'm going to share a little bit about that with you tonight. So first of all, I want to talk about stress in your brain. And I'm going to throw a big word at you. So just hang in there. And it's called neuroplasticity. Now, what in the world is that? The idea behind neuroplasticity is that the brain creates communication pathways that help make frequent thoughts and behaviors most efficient. The more that we repeat a thought, whether it's positive or negative, or a behavior, that solidifies in our brain. So like if you are practicing a sport over and over, then you become better at that sport. If you are doing a recipe over and over, then eventually you commit that recipe to memory, right? A foreign language, it all works the same way. Now, what most of us don't think about is the same thing is true for negative thoughts and positive thoughts and how we respond physiologically to stress. So let's talk about that for a minute. We want to rewire our brains for positive neuroplasticity and reframe negative thought patterns, behaviors, and physiological responses. So when we repeat negative thought patterns, okay, what we're doing, like related to anxiety, stress, depression, worry, fear, anger, grief, the brain is going to wire itself to make that negative neuroplasticity pattern more efficient. So the more negative thoughts you have, your brain's going to become more efficient at negative thoughts. The more positive thoughts you have, your brain's going to become more efficient at positive thoughts. So I want to share an experience with you that I had. So it was right after my son was born. Today is actually his birthday. He turned 6 years old today. So he was about 7 months old, 7 or 8 months old. And I was hit head on by a drunk driver. The driver hit my side of the car, and I was sitting at a stoplight. So miracle beyond miracles, I walked away, but I had a major concussion and a lot of soft tissue damage. And so I remember that my doctor told me after he checked my brain out, make sure there wasn't an internal bleed or something. He was like, your brain literally is like it's been in a blender. So this is one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about this, because a side effect that I was not prepared for was after I had started healing and all of that, I was not prepared for being afraid to drive. When I would find myself, and I had 4 kids, I can't not drive places. None of them were driving at the time. And so when I would find myself in the same situation, the same driving situation as the way that how the accident happened, I started sweating. My heart would start racing, and I could hear the tires screeching and visualize the oncoming car. And my hands would tense on the steering wheel because that memory was imprinted on my brain. So what I did was I started saying, I can't live like this. Like I can't not drive, but I also can't like freak out when I'm in the car with my kids. There's got to be a way to work around this. There's got to be something that I can do. So I went to some of my resource books for essential oils. And lo and behold, one of the ones that I pulled out was wild orange, which you got. So what I chose to do was I kept wild orange with me all the time. Now this is a little tiny bottle of wild orange. This is a 5 ml, but I kept it with me all times. Straight from the bottle, I would inhale in my car when I felt myself getting tense, when I would be in a traffic situation where there were a lot of cars. I was at a standstill, but there were a lot of cars that were coming past me at a fast rate. And I would simply inhale straight from the bottle, wild orange. And for me, I would repeat a scripture verse that was really meaningful to me. Now, what I did and what my brain did, my beautiful brain that had been in a blender, is it created a new neural pathway. And I have to say that as of today, I have no fear of driving, even when I'm in the same situation as I was during my car accident. So this is what I want you to do. You get your wild orange right now, and I want you to think about a negative thought that you have, especially if you have a repetitive negative thought pattern. And let's face it, we all do. And what I want you to do is I want you to think about the negative thought pattern, and then I want you to rewrite it into a positive one. So it could be something like, I'm not a good mom. I lost my temper today, And then what I want you to recreate it, something like, okay, I'm not a perfect mom, and I do this well. And then name something that you do well. And then I want you to take your wild orange and I want you to inhale it straight from the bottle. Just breathe that in. It is so amazing. So if you don't have paper and pen right next to you, make sure that you do this after this video, okay? And I want some feedback on how you do with it. So that's my little talk about wild orange. So I want you to practice that, okay? And let's create some positive neuroplasticity in our brain. Now, let's discuss the Adaptiv blend for a minute, the essential oil blend. Now, when we are multitasking and we're going from like one task to another, it actually takes our brain about 15 minutes to fully convert from one task to another. And let's face it, we live in a world of multitasking, and it's almost like this icon, in Western culture where like the more that you multitask and the more that you do all the things, then you're viewed as, like Superwoman or Superman, and you can do all the things and juggle all the things. And so have you ever felt like, gosh, I'm doing all this stuff, I'm doing so many things, but I'm not doing anything well? And the reason for that is because we are actually not wired to multitask a ton. So that's one of the reasons why we talk about like being 100% focused on the task that you're doing at the time. Now, this is where your Adaptiv blend can come into play. So you can diffuse it, and it is wonderful for promoting a great, relaxing work-study environment because it helps your brain adapt, helps your emotions adapt, helps you have an adaptive physiological response, right, to whatever's going on in your world at the time. And then the other thing that you can do is if you're really needing to focus, and I want you to practice this as well. Practice, like if you're a mom and you have older kids, not with young kids, but if you have older kids and they are used to coming up to you all the time and being like, hey mom, hey mom, hey mom, hey mom, and it doesn't matter what you're doing. I've learned with my older kids to turn and say, I love you and I want to give you 100% attention right now, but I need to finish what I'm doing. So I need you to wait and I'll be with you in just a minute. And that has worked, It's not perfect. We're not here for perfection, right? It is not perfect, but that has worked because not only am I teaching them to be respectful of my time, but I'm also giving myself time to finish the task that I'm doing before I shift into another mode, so that I'm, again, caring for my brain and I'm not creating stress for myself. And I'm not getting worked up because I've got this kid over here and this over here and then, a work call happening. Now, I realize that if you are in an office setting, that a lot of that you can't control. So what I want you to do is I want you to take your Adaptiv blend and you can rub it right here on the mastoid bone, right behind your ears, and put some right on your pulse points. every time you are getting ready to work and you really need to focus. Okay, so Adaptiv, blend, diffuse, rub on the mastoid bone, and help your brain shift in between tasks so that you're committing your best and giving your best to the task at hand. Let's talk about the Adaptiv capsules. So when these first came out, I mean, you guys know how great this supplement is if you've been taking it this week. When these first came out, I took them consistently in the morning for about 6 months. You've already learned this week all about GABA, how that is relaxing to the body. You've learned about the ahi flower and lavender, and why all these wonderful ingredients are wrapped up in this supplement. Now, I use it in the morning because that tends to be, my high stress level time. And that's because I have teenagers, and trying to get them up in the morning is always stressful. Like, I don't care who you are. Teenagers and waking them up in the morning is just not really a fun task unless you've got this little ball of sunshine teenager. And if you do, I want to know about it, please. So anyway, the Adaptiv capsule, what I did was I put them by my bed, but I didn't take them at night. I would take them first thing in the morning before I even met anybody in the morning. So I had some water by my bed, and I would take one first thing, and I would get up and I would do my things, and then I would go in. So I'd give it a little bit of time to work, and then I would go in. And I noticed over time that it didn't take away the stress. Like, it didn't help my teenager wake up in a better mood, I would have to wait for the kitchen diffuser to kick in for that. But it would help me just not be as reactive, even keel, right? Just, okay, this too shall pass, that sort of thing. And not in a fake way where I'm like, okay, everybody's happy. No, I'm fine. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about just even keeled and being able to adapt to whatever was going on with my kids at the time, because they are people too, and they have moods and they have stress. And so that was one of the things that I did. Now, I ran out after about 6 months. I ran out, and my next shipment wasn't coming in yet. And one of the things that I noticed was that I was still even keeled. Like, it was fantastic. I was like, what is this? I don't feel the stress, and I don't even have the supplement. So what had happened is your body wants to be in homeostasis. And so my body had gotten into balance again. And that is a beautiful thing. Now, I keep Adaptiv on hand because one of the other things that I've learned is that I've gotten older, and ladies, this is really for you. Sometimes with hormonal changes, your anxiety can heighten. At different times during your cycle, you get more stressed, and things that would not have stressed you out like a week ago, all of a sudden are. So I keep it on hand, and I take it the week before I start my cycle. And then I use my Clary-Calm. And again, I'm, pretty chill during, when my cycle comes around. So, ladies, do yourself a favor. There is no reason to suffer, because a lot of times we tend to think that that is normal, and it's not. So look into that, taking the Adaptiv capsule, using your Clary-Calm blend, and the person that invited you here, if you've got hormonal challenges, they can help you with that. And let's just support ourselves. And we are not taking away stress. What we're doing is we are helping our bodies not mount such a physiological and emotional response when we encounter stress. Okay, now I'm going to look through the comments and see if there are any questions. And let's see, I think there. Oh, hang on. That didn't work. Let me see if I see any questions. Okay. Comments and see if there are any. You can hear the delay on my phone. All right. I'm not seeing any right now. So here's what you can do. If you do have a question and you're checking this video out later or something, then definitely just put in the comments, and I'll come back around and answer anyone. Or if there's someone else in here that's working with you and they can answer your question, then we can definitely do that as well. All right, guys, I hope you have a wonderful evening, and make sure you stay tuned for tomorrow night. We've got another live video for you, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, and Friday night as well. And then don't forget about our wrap-up call on Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. All right, guys, I will see you later. Have a great